What's good, all man? Thanks for tuning in. So my thoughts of the Delahoya situation, man. I wasn't really gonna do a breakdown about the Delahoya fight, man. To be honest, I'm not a fan of these fights where they put boxers against non-boxers, and I know that this Barfoot guy's in the UFC. I think he's in the UFC. I don't really follow the UFC as much as I do boxing. That's why I say it's Jay's boxing channel. I only talk boxing. But so Holyfield replaces Delahoya. Listen, he replaces Delahoya, okay? Again, boxer against non-boxer. You can call him a fighter. It ain't the same, man. Even if the guy somehow manages to hurt Holyfield or beat him, it still ain't the same. It still ain't gonna get my respect because Holyfield's got 50, and I think he's like close to 60 or something like that, or late 50s. Barfoot is, I think he's in his 40s, or, they're all old father time fighters, So, I mean, if there's ever going to be a, some people could call it a fantasy fight. For me, a fantasy fight is more when they're in their prime, but, if you're ever going to have, I would say, legendary fights after their prime, or fights, I call it fights after dawn, fights after dawn. If you're gonna have a fight after dawn, man, so after you've, seen the best light of the fighter, and the sun's gone, man, and now it's, they've had their shine, and now they're just fighting because they like to fight and they're legendary boxers. It's got to be against another boxer, you know what I mean? This is what's not really good for the sport, man, is supporting this, these, they call them fantasy fights or whatever, man, or, when it's of a boxer against a non-boxer, man, that ain't. And it was going to be sanctioned, it was meant to be an exhibition, and they changed it to a sanctioned fight. So it's strictly business. But, boxing doesn't need this, I've mentioned this before, we have a lot of stars. The division is on fire at the moment. I mean, Holyfield is a legend, man, and I'm picking him to win. I'll probably watch it back, just in respects to Holyfield. But I'm paying for it, but, I'll watch it back. But it's a shame that this is the path that boxers are taking, man, fighting non-boxers, because UFC and boxing is completely different. Your coordination is way off when you're just using your hands and your legs, and I believe in the UFC they also have grabbing moves. So, you can't really just switch to boxing, it's a completely different game. It takes, years to learn boxing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not something that's taught within one training camp. Especially a guy like Holyfield, legend in the sport, knows the game in and out, man. This guy, I don't see this guy having a chance. I mean, obviously, unless Father Time kicks in, like I say, that's why I say if he does win, I'm not giving him any credit because Holyfield's near 60, I mean, you can't really say, man, I beat one of the greatest when they're that old, you know. I mean, you can say you beat them, but you can't really put it on your record, you know. You can't really, that's not like a big moment for you. That's what I'm trying to say, you know. I mean, sure, it's gonna be on the record, but I'm just saying, you know, you're not gonna, you know, tell your next generations onwards and say, man, I beat the greatest, one of the greatest in the sport, man. And then when they watch it back, they'll be, hey, man, this guy's nearly 60 years old, you know. So I mean, you can't really, you know, call that a victory if you win, but I don't think you will win. You know, Holyfield, and like I said, unless Father Time kicks in, but it's hard to break down a fight when, you know, you haven't really seen Holyfield in the ring for that long. It's hard to, you can just base him on his past performances, you know what I mean? And based on the past, man, this guy's got no chance. Again, Father Time is a big issue in this video, and yeah, man, it's, but these so-called after dawn fights, you know, so basically when the light's out, man, they've had their light, they've had their shine, they've had their prime, it's finished, you know. These fights don't really matter to me, unless it's obviously like a Roy Jones versus Tyson, you know. I'm gonna watch that. It's not, you know, a big hype for me, but it's a fight that I'll watch because they're both boxers. Like I say, you know, you got to separate boxing from any other sport, man. You can't just choose one, you know, boxer against UFC or like one, you know what I mean? You can't change it up, man. You gotta keep it just strictly to boxing. And I'm not a big fan of this, of these fights, you know. Like I said, I wasn't gonna do a breakdown to start with, but you know, I've seen that Holyfield stepping in. You know, I'm a fan of Holyfield, man. I'm also a fan of Delahoya's, you know, but he did go down a dark path, and, you know, don't want to really talk about his personal life too much, you know, but he did go down some out of it stuff, man, you know. So I'm more of a fan of Holyfield than Delahoya. But yeah, like I said, man, I mean, I expect Holyfield to win, but as well as Father Time might kick in, and we'll see what happens, man. I'm definitely not paying for it, man. You do what you want, but I'll watch it back. And yeah, man, I'm not a fan of these fantasy or after dawn fights. My apologies, after dawn fights, man. You've had your shine, man. Let these other guys have their shine. You know what I mean? Let the younger guys step in, man. Let the guys, you know, let our generation step in. You know, we have the talent. Just leave it at that, man. If you're gonna have a fantasy fight, challenge a boxer, not a UFC fighter, or, you know, at worst, man, a YouTuber. You know, this ain't cool, man. This ain't cool. But anyway, that's me, man. That's my thoughts of this whole Holyfield Delahoya situation. Obviously, they're both big names, man, legends. I believe Delahoya, if he had fought, he probably would win as well. Like I say, boxing and UFC is a lot different, man. The only thing stopping these guys from winning, man, is just Father Time. That's it. You know, that's all it is. But that's my take, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for your time once again. Leave a comment, man. Let me know your take. Peace. I'm out, man. God bless.